Welcome back to the 10 Talk. Today, this week, I really wasn't feeling an inspiration for a 10 Talk, and I didn't really have anything. So I was kind of wondering if this week there wasn't going to be one. But, woo, boy, I'll tell you what, I don't even know where this one's going to go totally, because I really kind of got riled up this morning, I got to tell you. One of the things that started showing up in the news last night, a number of different news outlets, I started seeing this drag queen show for little kids. Boy, man. And looked into that, and I tell you what, man, evil is getting more and more evil. And you see Satan on the attack for little kids, just attacking little kids in so many ways where it's just unbelievable and sad and just pure evil what's happening right now. I just really got riled up this morning and lately, just seeing some of the things that's going on where Satan is coming after kids. Schools, the things that is being pushed on kids in schools. The whole homosexuality, transgender, story time with drag queens and all this kind of stuff that's being pushed on kids. You remember a while when this really started getting pushed, when it was only about marriage, and all kinds of people were warning about where it was going to go. And here it is today. We see these drag queen shows for little kids in nightclubs. Unbelievably insane where things have gone, as people said, the slippery slope that we're going to go on, but seeing how fast, once you get on that slippery slope, things go. But in school these days, kids are being taught this kind of stuff, and getting books like that, and then also being confused about their gender, that they can pick the gender that they are, just completely going against God and the way He created things to be, just blatant ungodliness. And just being so open now. It used to be kind of more hidden and not out in the open, but they just seem really more brazen these days to just push this ungodliness in front of everybody's face and push it on everybody, and especially the kids. Being confused about their gender, that they can pick this, whatever they want to be, and then teaching them that if they're a certain skin color, they're an oppressor and they're evil, and they should feel shame and guilt and feel like they owe somebody else, even though they haven't done anything. They're little kids. And then the other group being taught that if they're a certain color, they're oppressed and they don't really have hope because of their skin color, because they're going to be held back because of other people of other skin colors. And what is that going to do to a kid? To think if he's hopeless and he's held back, it's going to make him lash out against somebody else because of their skin color. It's going to make them think that they got to go into crime or other ways of living life because they don't have hope because of their certain skin color. That's just absolutely wrong and evil. It's causing division and stirring up racism. That's racism being taught to kids. That certain kids are one way because of the color of skin, and then another color of skin are another way because of the color of their skin. It's just absolutely evil. And that one skin color of kids owes another skin color of kids for something they never did and the other one never went through. Slavery is a horrible thing. And unfortunately, since the beginning of man, that's been going on, not only for one skin color. One of the biggest ones, the Jews have experienced more oppression and slavery probably than anybody else. But it doesn't matter who it is against. It's wrong and it's bad. It's a horrible thing. we need to fight against racism, not stir up more racism. We're where we're at right now, and we need to go from here. And if it's not equality and we don't have certain rules and laws favoring one color of skin over another, and I mean, it's just absolutely crazy that this is even going on. You know, out in the real world, for the most part, you see everybody of all different skin colors getting along, being friends, having a good time together, joking together, talking together, being friends and all that. And the one thing I don't want to do is like, oh man, it's the world's fault. The world, those people that don't know God are just sinning, and they're sinning more. We shouldn't be surprised. Those that don't know God and that are in of the world, that are living in the world, they're being controlled by the sinful nature. We shouldn't be surprised about it and say it's their fault. What is God's answer to all that? God's answer to all that is the church and sharing the true gospel, not a prosperity gospel or any of this other kind of health and wealth kind of thing that's being pushed on people. The gospel, the true gospel, that show people who God is and how good He is and our Creator, and help them get to know God. That's what's going to change things. It's hard. We don't have a gun problem. We don't have a water shortage problem. We don't have an oil shortage problem. We don't have an inflation problem. These aren't the problems. The core, the root of this, see, this is something that the church won't teach, because the church, becoming more of a business, is more concerned about numbers and keeping the money coming in and not offending one part of their congregation because they're believing some ungodly things and backing and promoting some ungodly political principles. They don't want to offend them because they don't want them to leave, because they don't want to lose their money, and they don't want to lose their work of keeping their buildings and programs running to promote their brand, to keep themselves in business, and possibly lose their tax exempt status, because then more people won't give, and the church will shut down because the door's shut. You can't shut God's church down because of lack of funding or lack of money, or because some building doors are shut. God's church is going to go on forever, because God's church is people. The people who are truly following God. And so the church needs to begin to speaking about current day events, current things that are going on. Just because you label it political and you can't touch that, we need to speak to people and help people know what is right and wrong, what is good and evil, according to God and God's word, not according to what is currently popular in a culture, or what a lot of people are being pushed, or you might get attacked, or you might get labeled, or you might get some bad public opinion because you stand on God's word and what the truth of God's word is. The core is the church has lost its way. It's lost its mission. It's become a business. It's become more of entertainment and trying to about numbers and money and workers, keeping a institution going, rather than pointing people to the true Jesus and what the true gospel is and what God's word really says, and afraid to call out. Satan is working these days. He is absolutely working and attacking children under the disguise and the label of liberalism. But churches don't want to call that out. They don't want to say that. They don't want to tell people the truth, because some of those people may think they can serve God and an ungodly political agenda at the same time. God says you can't be for God and against God. You're either one or the other. You can't be for God in your Sunday religion and then be against God in your politics, which is public policy, which is believing what is right and wrong, good and bad, and how a nation, a society should be run on those politics, but it's actually morality, a lot of it. So anyway, yeah, I'm kind of ranting today, and hopefully, start a conversation about this where people will be able to talk about this and not be afraid to talk about it, because liberalism likes to censor, likes to ban, likes to attack and destroy anybody who comes against their agenda. And those are all descriptions of Satan and how he works. And that's what's going on in our country, in our land, in our world right now, because the church is being silent and the church is not doing their job. The core of the problem, the thing that needs to change, is not the world or people that don't know God to stop sinning. It's for God's people, the church, the people, the church, to begin to stand up for what's right and against what's wrong, and love people enough to tell them the truth. It is absolutely not loving to promote and help and back people to stay in a lifestyle that is against God and His words, that is in rebellion to God and leads to an eternity in hell. That is not loving to help somebody to continue on that path. It's loving to help them know the truth about God and who God is and what His heart is and how much He cares for them and wants to help them no matter what they're dealing with or what they're facing. Talk to you on the next 10 Talk.